Hi.
I just went really loud.
Are we on?
We're on. I'm not high.
Welcome to Wholehearted Living with Valerie.
And Bennie. Is that your start for real?
Yeah, why not?
Because it wasn't very exciting. It sounded like welcome. It sounded like a computer.
Oh, well, last week I was being British, so this week I'm going to be a computer.
All right. Well, this is the podcast. Oh, what are we called?
Wholehearted Living.
Wholehearted Living. We already said that. And you have to do the sibling part.
This is a podcast where the siblings, we chat. One of us brings a topic.
Later.
Yes, exactly.
This is our 54th, third?
This is 55th.
55th
wow, guys,
podcast,
listen to
ladies and
that.
gentlemen. So those of you that have been with us from the very beginning, you can say that you were there. We are 1 year, 3 weeks in.
Yes.
Thank
so
you,
this
Iggy.
is where we, one of us brings a topic and the other one doesn't know about it, and then we chat.
And we chat about it. And Iggy's here. Keeps us in sound. Thank you,
keeps
Iggy.
us in sound.
Hello. Hey, Iggy.
And stuff.
I don't know
does
how to say
everything.
that. Did you
Other
know that I
than-
say that all the time? I always say keeps us in sound.
I know,
I'm
but
sure
it just
everybody
sounds
listens to us and says, what the hell
It
does
just
he mean by
seems
that?
like it makes sense, right? You do the sound. He does the microphones. He does the stuff like that.
Actually, Valerie and I talk.
That's all we do. That's all we do. He does
I
everything
actually
else.
put that up there. So when you guys are on YouTube, that I'm pointing to the screen.
Yeah.
So that is my job, and I'm amazing at it. Thank you, Iggy.
Yes, thank you, Iggs.
And every once in a while, Iggy will come out with new equipment, and I'm trying to figure out where he's getting the budget for it, but we appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you so much. So how are you?
I'm good. I am. I'm still What am I doing? I'm enjoying summer. Gosh, what word was I going to say?
I don't know. I'm still slow.
So I didn't even get to say this last week, but last Friday I took Kylie and some friends up to a wedding.
Her friends.
What did I say?
You said some friends.
Her
which
friends,
made
yeah.
it sound like it was your friends.
No. Her friends. They were going to be in a wedding. It's a whole wedding weekend kind of thing. So drove them up there to it's a couple hours away from where we live. So one of their friends, Hunter, couldn't make it because he was in Alabama and he was going to try to fly back for the wedding and then fly right back to Alabama, which is where his grandparents live. But and he was only there because his grandfather was very, very ill and he was trying to help him basically. But he ended up passing away.
Oh, no.
And so, so then he basically tells Kylie, she's like, well, are you going to still fly out for the wedding and then go back for the service? Because the service isn't going to be this week, the weekend. It's going to be during the week later. And so he's like, anyway, it's a long story and I'm not going to give away, it's his life. But it ended up coming down to that he couldn't really afford to quickly fly out and then quickly fly back.
Yeah.
And so speaking of being kind, if you listen to last week's episode, I said, let me look at the flights and get him out here. And so...
Did you pay for him to come out?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
That's really kind.
Yeah,
Man, a little stupid.
No, I just don't get my tattoo because Peter was like, that was your tattoo money. And I said, well, I know Hunter really wants to be there. And I know that he's had a very rough life and that this will make him very happy. And we weren't sure if it was money or we weren't sure if it was the time away. We weren't really quite sure why he couldn't come to the wedding or go to their wedding. But ended up being the money, the cost of flying out quickly to be at the wedding and then fly back. And so
he wasn't going to be able to do it whether Grandpa died or not.
Well, that's different because he was going to extend the time. It's a long story because with job and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, everyone was and I got this call from him and he was just sobbing like, I can't believe you guys would do this for me and blah, blah, blah. So it was, so I said, well, when you have money, you can pay for my tattoo. No, just kidding. I didn't say that. I didn't say that. No.
Yes, you did.
But I just was very happy for that and very happy because all the girls were just, oh my gosh, seriously. And we're so happy that it just, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
That was very kind. That's very, very cool. Well, change the subject if I can.
Please.
I want to talk about my last 2 weeks of life.
Okay.
So I think I briefly talked about it last week, or at least a couple of weeks ago, but I'm really going to get into the weeds now since it's my podcast. It's my podcast week, I mean. But so it kind of has to do with wholehearted living because I'm going to talk a little bit about faith.
Okay, wait. Is this is this our pre thing, or are you actually getting into your?
A little of both.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so it's a little of both because I'm going to share a story about some things that are going on, and then it has a little bit to do with the direction that we're going to go in wholehearted living.
Okay.
So one of the things, for most of us in life, I mean, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but we know, I don't want you to get into the weeds about it, but you have a situation right now with your house because you rent your house and there's a situation with the owners and you're dealing with that, correct?
Right.
It can affect your wholehearted living. Is that a fair statement?
Oh, for sure, fair.
Yeah. So like it's something that it's something you think about. It's something that you can ponder. It's something. It's something like it ends up affecting your mind, right? And here's the question. This is not the question for wholehearted living for this podcast, but does the fear or the anticipation of that event help your life in any way, shape, or form?
No.
Right. It doesn't, right?
Yeah.
But almost all of us, no, I'm going to actually say all of us do that. Like, don't we fear things and we start to assume certain things are going to take place or not take place.
You could either have fear or you could have faith.
Oh, nice. So, and so here's the thing that's interesting. I'm not going to, but for the sake of time, I'm not going to give all the details. You're more than welcome to DM me if you really want every single detail. But I've been talking about my school situation for a long time. So I had a site supervisor, and I want to be careful because maybe some people are listening, but I had a site supervisor who there's no other way to say it was difficult to the degree that even my university professors said this was a unique situation. They have not encountered a situation like this. Now, I was not perfect in this thing, but I'm also a student. So her job is to educate me in this lack of perfection. Right. And instead of educating me, it became contentious. And so what ended up happening was because of some of the things that took place, and again, it's not that I don't want to tell you what happened, it's just time consuming. Yeah. So all I want to say is what ended up happening was she ended up complaining to the university, which requires the university to act on the complaints. Sure. So they had me write a paper. They had me take 3 different CEU classes, continuing education credits, which just takes time. Sure. And then I had to prove that I actually took those credits and they were directly related to the issue at hand. And then I had to find peer-reviewed papers regarding the subject matter. I had to do so many different things. And my last week of school, I think I told you guys many weeks ago when we were in the podcast that I got ahead. And so my last week of school, I actually just was doing the work that these people told me to do. And even on our way, we talked about going to Ireland a few weeks ago. And so even on my way to Ireland, I wrote the paper in the plane. I finished it ended up being 13 pages, supposed to be 8. Wow. And it was a 13-page paper that I ended up writing. I ended up sending it to one of my professors first to say, hey, what do you think? And he said he asked me to make 1 or 2 corrections. And he goes, they're very minor, but they might be helpful, which I did. And then I sent it to this board. And
wait, can I ask you real quick?
Yeah.
Is this a paper regarding that situation?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Specifically on that situation, and they were basically trying to have me write a paper
so basically your side.
No, it was a paper because I actually had a conversation to discuss my side of what happened with them. So I had a conversation with the board. This was a paper to prove that I had learned my lesson.
Oh, I see.
For a lack of better
Got
word,
it.
if that's the way. So I had to have I had to have references and I had to write that blah 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 blah. And so I wrote the paper, I finished the paper, I sent it out, and I didn't hear anything from them. I went to Ireland, we came back from Ireland, I didn't hear anything, and literally a week ago, Tuesday, so that was right before the 4th of July, I told Patty, I guess I'm not going to school next quarter because it was Tuesday and Monday school started.
Got it.
And I said, they're not going to do anything over the 4th of July.
Right.
It's the 4th of July. So I'm like, they're not going to do anything. And I haven't heard anything.
Right.
So I said, there's a good chance I'm not going to school this quarter. So I'm getting 10 weeks off. And the problem with that is you might be thinking, well, you just work more and whatever. But I can't work more because of the nature of my job. Working more would mean that I would not be available for school when it came up because I don't have the kind of a job where I can just I have
Stop
clients.
it. Yeah.
So if I get clients, I get them for 3 to 6 months. So I can't just like drop them. So I'm like I can't increase my workload because that would mean I will not be able to take on school when school starts. But I would literally resign myself to the fact that this is not going to happen. Wednesday and I sent an email to my professor, by the way, one of my professors saying, is there anything I can do to speed this up? And it was so funny because he didn't respond. I get an email the next day saying, you've been approved.
Oh,
everything is green lighted. You're all good. And we actually
Wednesday
wish you luck.
before 4th of July then.
Wednesday before 4th of July, and they say you're green lit, you're good. But I still don't have a site though, so I'm still thinking the internship class is probably not going to happen because they put it on hold until I was greenlit to even review whether or not I could.
You can have the internship.
Yeah. So I emailed the professor. He told me go. He said it was so funny because he emailed me with, "I'm sorry, man, I can't do anything about it." And I'm like, I called him actually, and I said, no, I just found out that I'm golden. And he's like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad to hear this because he really did not think I deserved what I got.
Yeah.
And so then I said, so do you know anything about what I could do for the site? He goes, I have nothing to do with that, but you can email such and such. Again, I know it's too late, the long story short scenario, but all I'm going to say is I ended up talking to a professor that I've had previously. She's a wonderful woman. And she said, contact me on Monday because I'm on the committee to approve sites and I'll make sure to check. Monday morning, she checked and she approved. And then she sends me texts. She's sending me texts saying, Benny, we need this to happen and we need this to happen. I'm doing it. And then one of the things was out of my control. My site had to actually do it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's not going to happen. And then they actually did the university went to California's website to make sure that the things was correct. And suffice it to say, Monday morning, I get approved for my site. So I went from not going to school to being fully, then they put me in a class. So now I'm going to really tell you some things that didn't happen. This woman at my old site was so bitter and angry and so whatever that she denied all of my hours for every hour I worked for her for last quarter.
Oh my gosh.
Which is a big deal. And nobody agreed with this. But we can't do anything about it. And she had, and it had nothing to do, it was literally just like her being angry.
I was just
because it
gonna
had
say,
nothing to do with the circumstances.
Yeah.
It just had to do with her being honestly weird and bitter and weird. I don't even know how to describe it because it had nothing to do with the situation.
Yeah.
And anyway, I just found out today the university approved them. They overrode her.
Oh my God, that's great.
So
she must feel like crap.
Well, she doesn't know.
You don't think she'll
listen to this
find
podcast. My name is Steve Morris. so anyway, all of my hours ended up getting approved.
Good.
So I'm very excited. But here's my point. So you might be going, wow, we're 13 minutes into the episode and I'm finally getting to the point. Here's the thing that I kind of wanted to talk about, and it has something to do with what I'm going to read in a second. But where does faith align with living wholeheartedly?
That's so funny because just a little while ago, faith, it could be you could live in fear or have faith.
Exactly. That's why I thought that was weird. That's why I thought it was interesting that you said that. But where does faith align with living a wholehearted life?
Are you asking me that, or is that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I mean, for me, I feel like because just going right back to what I said, you could live in fear or you can live with faith. And if you're going to go with the wholehearted place, you have that choice to. What does fear get you? It doesn't get you anywhere, right? So if you have faith, then you are actually living more in a wholehearted way. Isn't that profound?
Yeah, that's profound.
Okay, so you brought up the
if you eat cheese,
brought up the house.
you're very cheesy eater.
No, if you like, you brought up the house. You can. You asked me, do you feel like yeah? Part of my head is like the unknown.
She's laughing because you just went.
I know. All the words are in my head, but they didn't come out. No, there's that fear of the unknown. There's the fear of uncertainty. Yeah. But at the same time, I switch it. I really do, because I don't want to live in that kind of I don't want my mind to be like that. I don't want my heart to be like that. I just want to live more like, okay, I'm going to have faith that everything will work out. I do believe in God. I believe there's a plan. And I believe that in the end, no matter whatever has gone wrong, quote unquote, in my life has always turned out for the better, no matter what. And so I just have to live with the faith that whatever is going to happen is going to happen, and it's going to be better for me in my life.
So this is really interesting, because I agree with you. What's hard is, and I'm hoping that there's all kinds of people of faith that are listening to us. I imagine the predominant people are listening to us are Christian, because that's our background. But maybe there's some people out there that are from a totally different faith, or maybe you're agnostic. Maybe you don't even know. I really don't know what your background is, but what I will say is, for me, faith is something. I mean, I love the book The Alchemist. Have you ever read The Alchemist? But have you read The Alchemist?
I read it once a long time ago. It was good.
Yeah. What did you think of it? What is it? This is Iggy, by the way. Iggy, what did you get out of it?
I don't remember much of it. I read it for school.
Yeah.
So it was very much, I'm reading this because I have to read it, not I'm reading it because I want to read it.
Right.
Yeah.
But did you take something away from it in regards to faith? Because you were nodding your head when I started talking about it.
I just remember really liking the book.
Yeah.
Like I started it off like, I have to do this because of school.
Yeah.
But then by the end of it, I was like, I'm glad I read that book.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because The Alchemist, if I could summarize it without, and I'm not going to do a good job because I end up stealing things from all books and not necessarily like remembering every detail. But The Alchemist, the idea is this: the universe is working for us. It's like it's working toward us.
Absolutely.
There's this power out there that's working toward us. Is that a fair statement, Iggy, from your reading of it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even not reading that, I really believe that the universe is working for us. I think life, as we talked about before, life doesn't happen to us, it happens for us.
Yeah. So I am a Christian. I would say I hate using that term. I've said this before. I've been a pastor, but I hate it because most people, they hear Christian and they put me in a box. Do not put me in a box, please, because I'm not that.
Right.
I'm just
Just put them in a rectangle.
or a circle. Put me in a circle. Put me in something different, because I don't like being called certain things. I don't believe.
You don't need a label.
Yeah, I don't like the
but
labels.
You know what your
but
faith
I am a faith-based person, but I also really welcome people of all faiths, and so it's something that's really important to me that people. All people are accepted, and all people are loved by God. God loves them, whether you like him or not. He loves you. So that's just all there is to it. And in the end, there's some kind of power out there that's working for us. And what I recognized is this situation with my school. It was interesting to me, and I'm not patting myself on the back, and yet I am going to pat myself on the back. But the reason why I'm going to pat myself on the back is for people to hopefully hear this and walk away with, oh, that's interesting. But I would share with my cohort and I belong to several group texts with different students. It's really fun to be involved with people who are in the same boat.
I hate group texts.
I don't like I really don't like group texts, but I do like the ability to be able to contact people that understand exactly what's going on. Like they just know who you are, right? And then I have a lot of friends from a 12-step program I'm in, and those are probably the people that know me the best because I share everything with them. And then and my point is I can share certain things, and what's fascinating to me is some of them have said to me, you just seem so calm about this whole thing. Like, why are you so calm about it? Why aren't, if it was me,
like,
they literally say this, they literally say, I'd be freaking out. And I'm just like, how does freaking out serve you?
Me? Yes.
How does that make me, if for the sake of our podcast, live wholeheartedly? It does nothing for me. So I all of a sudden go, I just have to just trust that somehow this is going to work out. And regardless, I mean, honestly, I resigned myself to the fact that if I don't go to school, then that just means I'm going to, honestly, I thought, this is so funny. I thought, well, I'm going to be able to post on Wholehearted Living Instagram a little bit more. I thought I'm going to be able to hang out with some friends that honestly don't get enough time with me. I have some friends that we Zoom meet, even though we live within 20 minutes of each other. But we do that because I can't, because of the way my clients work, I can't leave for a 15-minute drive to meet with someone for 15 minutes and then drive back for my next client. It's better just to have a Zoom meeting for 45 minutes and then it is to do that.
Well, and at the end of the day, if you really believe what you are trying to say, that if it pushed you back for school for 10 weeks, there is a reason.
Right.
And at the end of all of that, you will still get your degree. You will still,
That's it. Yeah. I even got to a point where I thought, because I didn't know, I'll be honest with you, I had every reason to believe, because of my professors and because of what they were saying, that you're going to continue on with school. But to be honest with you, with this ethics committee, it was possible that they said, no, you're done at Capella University. Right. And then that would have been that. And I was like, well, I guess I don't know what that means for me, but I just have to trust, because not trusting does nothing for me.
Right.
Doesn't bring me joy, doesn't bring me peace. It doesn't change my circumstance.
And what happens when you're not at peace, you would probably pour that all into your family.
No, exactly. At Trinity, Iggy, did you guys even know that this was all going on?
Yeah. So see, you lived with peace through it all.
I think I live with peace. Boogers, did you think that I was dying? Were you dying? Yeah.
Yeah. See.
Yeah.
They don't even care.
No.
They're just like, okay.
They actually are thinking, do you live here? No, but the point is that I'm thinking of people out there. And I think what happens for us is circumstances don't necessarily go our way. And quite frankly, I've had a lot of circumstances that didn't go my way. A lot of times it's because of actions that I did. Sometimes it's not.
Sometimes they're unforeseeable. Sometimes they're just the luck of the draw.
That's right. And so I think, what good is it for me to focus on those negative things, dwell on them, live on them, wonder about what are the other options instead of just... Now, I will say, I've mentioned this before. The serenity prayer is my favorite prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change. What can I not change? I couldn't change this woman. I couldn't change what she did.
Right.
I couldn't change the university's reaction to it. But then I never can go in the middle. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. The courage to change the things that I can. And so what did I do? The courage to change the things. I immediately did all the CEUs. I immediately submitted everything. I immediately wrote the paper. I immediately did everything that I possibly could so that I could move forward. And then I sent it off and I said, I'm going to enjoy Ireland. I don't want this hanging over my head. I want to just send this off and be done. And then the wisdom to know the difference. And the wisdom to know the difference is, instead of just complaining to everybody, complaining to the site supervisor,
or knowing when you have to stop, like when there is like that bottom line and you just have to wait
and you have to see what's going to happen. And ultimately it worked out in my favor. I'm not going to tell you that it's always going to work out in your favor, but what I can tell you is it doesn't do any good for you to dwell on it and really think about all these different things. What's fascinating is my new site, it's a paid site. So that's amazing, because now I can not only get the hours that are required for licensure, but I can also I can actually reduce my hours at my paid job so that I can continue.
Get more intern hours.
More intern hours while I'm still getting paid. Whereas I never could have done that before. I've literally met with my new internship supervisor. And I literally met with her and in front of her, and then later I've wept at the end, thinking I had no idea it could be like this. And it's been an amazing experience already, just seeing. And then I've done something that I don't think I've ever done before, which is, we talked about this last week, is I've reached out to people more than normal in regards to connecting with them, sharing with them, letting them know what's going on, letting them know I'm trying to help one of my colleagues. I shouldn't say I'm trying to help. I'm seeing if they could work at the same site I am because they would love to be paid as well. And so there's just certain things and it's like, why not? What does it hurt me to help somebody else? Extend kindness if you listened to last week. And so the point though is that, I don't know. I just think it's interesting to me because we're talking a lot about some actual steps. But to me, the end result is faith.
Absolutely.
It really comes down to...
So now your situation turned out good. And I think we talked about this back in August and September when I was placed at another school and I used the Serenity Prayer to, same thing. I wanted to make sure that I exhausted all measures to get back to the school site that I wanted to go to. But there was the wisdom to know the difference. Like, how far do I go with it? Who do I email? Where, I don't want to step on toes. So anyway, my situation turned out good because I did go back to my original school site that I wanted to go to. How would you feel if you didn't get all this worked out?
So I will give you, that's a great, what is it? Question. Because it's a great question. Nice job, Patty. The great question is this, because I think it's really important, for instance, in our faith, just to be faith oriented and think about it. It didn't work out for Jesus. It didn't work out for any of the apostles. John, I think, is the only one, but everybody else died, not just died. It was a bad situation. So if you looked at their lives, you would say, well, it didn't work out for them.
Right.
And yet we're still talking about them 2,000 years later. So what I would say is, I've made some bad decisions in my life and then I've trusted God. When I say I made some bad decisions, I didn't intentionally, there were some issues that were going on. There were all kinds of things. I got fired. I quit Starbucks because I literally did quit Starbucks, but if I didn't quit Starbucks, I would have been fired. Well, if I wouldn't have done that, I wouldn't be pursuing therapy. If I wasn't pursuing therapy, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now, which is I'm in a very different place. If I was still in Starbucks, I'm almost certain I probably would have a little bit more money and I'd hate myself and everybody around me. So
just not happy.
Yeah, I just would not be happy because it was literally a job where it was like you punch in the clock, you do your job, and I don't know what their new one is, but they used to have a vision of, what was their thing of doing something with people?
To inspire and nurture the human spirit.
To inspire and nurture the human spirit. And they talk about giving one cup of coffee and one whatever. But I love the idea of inspiring and nurturing the human spirit. I absolutely love that. My boss didn't. He loved making money.
Yeah, right.
And so I was not having fun.
He wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't into it. I don't care about making money. I still don't care about making money, unfortunately. I'm good. I really, really, really enjoy people. So if I didn't get fired from that, I'm 100% certain I wouldn't be pursuing my degree right now.
Right.
So the truth of the matter is that a lot of the worst things that happen in our lives allow us to become something. I got fired from my main job because I screwed up, and that's a long story that I'm not going to get into. But I got fired from my pastoral job, from my missions job, for a complete screw up on my part. And now I look back on it, and I still have the same faith I've always had. There's nothing that's changed, but I'm expressing it in ways that is very different because I have the liberty to, because I don't have the constraints of being a staff
You were being
person.
watched. Yes.
I was a professional Christian.
Yeah.
I don't like saying
and all
that.
eyes were on you. I understand that.
You don't have the freedom to say and do and be the person that you want to be. And now I do. And I, unfortunately, probably cuss more than I ever cussed in my entire life. But I will say...
Wait, do you have to cuss just because you're not a professional Christian?
Of course. That's the only thing that can... Professional Christians...
I don't cuss.
Oh, well, that's stupid.
Oh,
I'm totally kidding. No, but what it comes down to me is I think sometimes cuss word, like sailors just say it all the time. I think sometimes a cuss word fits better than other words, in my opinion. And I just don't care anymore. I don't filter things like that, because in my mind, that's not about whether or not you're a Christian or
oh
you're
well,
not a
no,
Christian.
I don't think that is either.
Right.
But
And so
I
the
just-
key thing for me is not about cussing. The key thing for me is that I feel the liberty to be myself, whereas I have for 25 years I didn't have that liberty. I had to maintain. I felt like, I'm not going to blame Christianity for this, but at least in the way that there's a pressure and a movement, and the way people talk and the way people are, when you're a professional Christian, pastor, missionary, there are certain things that you're allowed to do, and there's certain things you're not allowed to do. And even from politics all the way through to how you treat your kids, there's certain things that you have to do. And I really didn't agree with a lot of it. But I kind of just let it go. I didn't necessarily preach it and teach it, but I kind of just like, well, I guess this is my lot in life. When that ended, I could be I was just all of a sudden myself. And I don't have that same filter anymore.
right.
And so I'm fascinated, because I meet with people and I talk with people, and we talk about praying for people. We talk about connecting with people. I do the same amount of, I'm going to call it ministry. I don't like to call it ministry, but just caring for people. I have people in my life that I'm in regular contact with that I love, and they love me, and we talk about things in a very, very open way. And I've never had that kind of relationship before. I've never done that, because I wasn't free to be myself, because I was that guy, and you had to maintain a certain persona in order to keep the job.
Right. That makes sense.
If I didn't get fired, I wouldn't be the person that I am right now. So I think Trinity's here right now. I think I'm more present as a person. Yeah, I think I'm more present. I think I'm more present than I've ever been in my life. Yeah, that's a fair statement, Trinity Ray?
Yes.
Ooh, wish she needed a mic. So she was talking for like an hour and a half without the mic, and then all of a sudden she gets a mic and says yes. I think my wife and I have been married for 35 years, and we've been married 34 years. And what's fascinating to me is I believe that we've always had a great marriage, and yet I honest to God think it's getting better. Okay, I'm going to end with this. And this is something that I want to encourage all of us to have. I might have shared this before, but I have a mission statement for my life. So, do you have a mission statement for your life? Have you ever thought about it?
I dance like no one's watching, sing like no one's listening, and love like you've never been hurt.
Oh, is that your mission statement?
No, it's not a mission statement. I just like that quote.
I know. It is a good quote. But here's my mission statement. And I'm going to challenge you out there, because here's the thing. So I'm going to change the subject very quickly. Normally I teach this in life coaching. And when I teach it in life coaching, I teach it around the subject matter of time management. Because most people they have certain things that they want to do or not do and whatever. And then they always find themselves going, I'm not doing what I want to do. So there's a great book, by the way, if you ever want to listen to it, The 7 Habits of Healthy People. I think that's what it's called, by Stephen Covey. You can look at it. He has 4 quadrants. He's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And the quadrant 2 is like the quadrant 2 activities, but it doesn't matter. The point that I want to get at is it's based on your values, and then it's based on the mission that you set for yourself. If you have a mission for yourself, then you say to yourself, this is what I'm going to do every day to achieve my mission. So here's my mission for myself. And I encourage people to have a mission for themselves. It is my mission to live a life. Oh, I should put my glasses on. I should memorize this. I suck at memorization. Sorry. It is my mission to live a life of honesty, integrity, and unconditional love, to never lose sight of what's most important, and to make the world a more beautiful place by helping people become all that God meant them to be.
That's beautiful. Wait, you wrote that?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, wow.
Oh, shoot. I just lost it.
Put it on a bumper sticker.
So what is my mission again? My mission is, oh my gosh, I just lost it. Is to do something amazing. Is to live a life of honesty, integrity, and unconditional love, to never lose sight of what's most important, and to make the world a more beautiful place by helping people become all that God meant them to be.
Beautiful.
So why do I want to be a therapist and life coach? Because to me, it's just kind of a different way of doing the same thing. It's because honestly, I want to help people become all that God meant them to be. Mm-hmm. Whether or not they believe in God is another story. But I do believe that every single person is created to be something, and most of us never embrace that role. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. We never fully engage in it. Mm-hmm. We end up not understanding it, and we end up living in this superficial or just outside of what's normal. Mm-hmm. And my goal is for people to become so integrous. If you really think about it, what integrity means is that everything about you joins together. And if you're watching on YouTube, it's better. but everything that about your emotions, about your intellect, about your soul, and about who you are join together and mm-hmm. become one. Mm-hmm. Does not necessarily mean that your vocation, meaning how you make money, is necessarily going to be how you live every single day, because obviously we need people who are selling things or fixing things and that kind of stuff. And so, but it does mean, like Kelly, that you are trying to be what you intend to be at every moment mm-hmm. that you can possibly. Iggy loves working sound. Mm-hmm. That's not what he does all the time. Right. But the fact of the matter is that I have no idea why he enjoys helping us. Yeah. but this is something that he mm-hmm. Is it true that this gives you energy? Like, you like doing this?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This is true.
Yeah. And so that's a way of joining something, even though it's not his full-time occupation, right. but he gets to experience this right. a wee bit. Right. So when I read my mission statement, I know you've had no time for preparation, but what would your...
Oh my gosh. No, I don't have a mission statement right now. You're right. I had no time.
Yeah.
I mean... No, but I mean, honestly, I know I said that silly quote earlier, but that if I were to write something, it would be very similar, that maybe a little more profound, if you will. But I mean, I honestly feel like... No, I don't have time to think about that.
I honestly think, I'm not going to do it.
The attempt was there.
Yes. No, if my thoughts could be in a cute little paragraph like you, it's for myself. It's like, I want to be able to live this life where I don't feel judged by anybody. I feel like I could dance like no one's watching me. I can sing like no one's actually listening, and to love like I've never been hurt before. Because a lot of times you do have that, like, some people have a wall because they've been hurt or they've been whatever. But at the same time, I also, like you, have always wanted to be helpful to people around me, and that's when I started Coco's Paleo Kitchen. I wanted to be, share healthy ways to live a wholehearted life, whether it be through food, through movement, through mindset, Right. So that is obviously a really long mission statement, and I could sum it up with time, but yeah.
Yeah. And I guess for the topic of this session, of this particular podcast, my goal was basically to talk about, I really wanted to get to the mission statement, which I only got to the end. But the idea is that I think all of us are intended to live for a particular mission. Every single one of us. It's unique to you. I don't want you to steal my mission statement mm-hmm. because it's like, we're not all me. Mm-hmm. And so the idea is who are you? What are you called to be? And I believe that you're called by God, by your creator. I don't care what you call him or her. I'm saying that you're called. And if you're called, then be that person, because if you're that person, you're fulfilling like the cog in the wheel so that this world turns correctly. Yeah. Yeah. If not, then we're missing you. Mm-hmm. I like the idea of the Bible talking about we're a body. the truth of the matter is the hand cannot operate without the arm. So if you're a hand, you have to be a part of the body. If you're a heart, you have to be a part of the body. You cannot operate separately. And every single one of us has a particular mission, a particular purpose. And it's my goal to help people find what is your particular purpose? What is it that makes you tick? And I think when people find that, it relieves and brings, like last week, it wasn't last week we talked about serotonin and all that. When we're fulfilling our purpose, we have that
dopamine effect.
Yes, we feel like, oh, I'm being what I'm supposed to be. And so there's something that's happening that's making a difference. So I just love that idea.
Yeah. What fills your cup?
Yes, that's it. So I hope that was
good.
Interesting and good and helpful.
It was interesting and good and helpful.
Yay.
I think so.
So good. So figure out your mission statement, figure out what you want to do, and recognize that there are a lot of things that happen that are both good and bad. And in the end, there's somebody that's watching over you and trying to take care of you. And if we could submit to him, it's, or her, however you want to describe the person, or God, it's going to change you and it'll change the world. That's my thought.
I agree.
Yay.
Yeah, that was good. Thank you.
So, folks, we're at wholehearted_living_podcast on Instagram. Valerie is going to start writing every single day, probably 4 or 5 things a day that's going to change your life. If you could, please.
Gosh, it's so crazy. Yeah.
So, but we would love for you to follow us. We'd love for you to DM, and we'd love for you to just be a part of our community. And we'd love to hear from you. Please just go to there right now. Send this podcast to somebody else that might need to hear it.
Love that. Yes, for sure. Thank you, Iggy.
I was going to say thank you, but I realize that that's the retail worker in me. I never say you're welcome. I just say thank you back to you.
Thanks, Iggy.
Well, thank you for being here, you guys, and we will see you next week.
Yep, we'll see you next week, folks.
Bye.
Ciao.